Joining me in the big room this evening, the man cave as we like to refer to it, I'm pretty sure that's still its name, is none other than the great Darren Barnett. Lovely to see you here. Matt Canavan, leader of the Nats. After a big weekend, he is in Canberra, of course. So I wanted to get to the opinion polling and reporting that's been done ahead of the Bush Summit. That's going to be in Dubbo in a couple of weeks. And it tells us again about the difficulties that are happening in regional Australia. It says that 2/3 of Aussies in bush say that life has worsened for them. Now, Matt, you know this because, of course, you represent regional Australia. It's good that the Bush Summit will be there. No doubt you will be part of it, certainly have been in the past. But why is it that so many in that building, frankly, couldn't care less? Is it because they vote for the wrong people, or is it just because they can afford not to care because people in the bush are struggling?
In this video, you're about to discover why the postcode you live in might be deciding whether your voice counts in this country at all. Quick favour, if you are not subscribed to the channel yet, please take a second to do that now. You done? Thank you so much. Now let us continue.
Yeah, look, Paul, I'll be there. I'll be there at Dubbo again at the Bush Summit, so look forward to that. Look, people in the bush are struggling, so are everyone around the country. That 2/3 figure is pretty much replicated in the city too. But there are different pressures in the bush. In particular, this massive increase in energy and fuel prices hits harder because the further you go out, the distances get longer, the costs get higher. So it's very, very tough for people there. Also, most or more of the economy, more of the jobs in outer metropolitan areas and rural areas are not connected to government, so they don't get the buffer of the government just giving us more money or public service salaries going up. When industry's doing it tough, when the economy does it tough, the whole town does it tough, and it's very, very tough to do business right now. Now, in terms of this building, I don't know. I can't read people's minds into why they do things, but certainly this government is, I think, ignorant or has its head in the sand about these things, because you keep hearing from the government that everything's great. We've heard from the Housing Minister a couple of weeks ago. Oh, sorry, the Talia Plibersek, the Minister the other week, saying it's never been a better time to be a first home buyer. And last week was confirmed that actually there are 3% fewer first home buyers since the budget. We hear other ministers spruik the fact that wages are going up. They don't say that prices have gone up even further. So your real wages, what you can really buy with your wages, has gone down 5% since this government has been elected. Around the developed world, it's gone up 5%. So we're going in the wrong direction as a country. That's hurting the bush as well, and we've got to have someone with a plan to turn it around. Yeah,
I mean, Darren, it feels to me that it's pretty obvious, right? That does Labor run in these places? Yes. Do they expect to win them? No. However, places like the Hunter, there are other places where they have certainly increased their footprint at recent times.
North Queensland's another one. There are seats. Lots of Tasmania is fairly.
But you know the culture.
Rural.
You know the culture down there. You know the culture up there as well, which is. A lot of them just don't care. A lot of them, it's just, in terms of the policy formation, that it's a citizenry, but it's not really a citizenry that needs to be dealt with. Why? Because it's smaller than the one that they prefer to focus on, being the cities. Do you think that there is a two-tiered nature of effort that's put into taking care of people who live outside of the cities?
I think there's an automatic assumption that you look after your electorate, and so there's a little bit of out of sight, out of mind. That doesn't make it fair, and it doesn't make it desirable. But then when you combine that with the types of and we'll call them lobby groups or peak bodies that come to Canberra, you might meet with the national farmers, you might meet with meat and livestock. There's a lot of people in rural Australia who are not living on the land. Like, there's a lot of people in sort of urban environments, and as per that those polling numbers, cost of living is number one by a street. Housing pressures are a little less because costs are a little less, but it's taken over, as Matt rightly points out, by increased costs for fuel and transport and other complications that come from living in the bush. So I hope Labor goes to the Bush Summit. I hope they take it seriously and that some good things come out of it.
Now, imagine 2 Australians wake up on the same morning, facing the same interest rates, the same grocery prices and the same energy bills. One lives in Sydney, 5 minutes from a train station and 15 minutes from Parliament House lobbyists who know her local member by first name. The other lives 4 hours from the nearest hospital, watches the only bakery in town close its doors, and has never once had a minister return a phone call. Same country, same crisis, completely different reality. That is the story nobody in Canberra wants to tell you, so we are telling it for them. Let us start with the numbers, because numbers do not care about spin. Real wages have fallen 5% since this government took office, while comparable developed nations have seen wages climb by roughly the same amount in the opposite direction. 2 out of 3 regional Australians report their quality of life is getting worse, not staying the same, not slightly dipping, worse. Meanwhile, ministers stand at podiums declaring there has never been a better time to buy a home, conveniently skipping past the inconvenient detail that first home buyer numbers dropped 3% immediately after the budget was handed down. That is not an oversight, that is a communication strategy dressed up as leadership. Now here's where it gets structural, not just statistical. Regional economies do not have the safety net of government employment and public sector wage growth that cushions capital cities during hard times. When fuel prices spike, a Sydney commuter grumbles. A farmer trucking grain 300 kilometres to market watches their margin evaporate. When energy costs surge, a business in a regional town without competing suppliers simply cannot absorb it the way a CBD retailer might. The distance isn't just kilometres, it's vulnerability multiplied. And don't let anyone tell you this is just a farming issue, because that stereotype is doing a lot of heavy lifting to justify ignoring everyone else. Regional Australia today is nurses driving 2 hours for a shift, small business owners watching their only competitor town over shut down, and teachers who can't get a mobile signal to reach the education department. These are not block grievances, these are the daily realities of a democratic deficit, where lobbying power sits in Canberra and the people actually affected sit 4 hours away from anyone who will listen. This is exactly why the upcoming Bush Summit matters. It's not a photo opportunity, it's a genuine test of whether leadership will confront spatial inequality head-on, or, once again, let proximity to power decide whose problems get solved. I appreciate you for taking time to watch this. Stay safe and let us make this nation a better place. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below.